that are on board with us tonight. I want to welcome you all. Tonight's midweek health awareness talk. Last week we had a session on cardiovascular disease and the way out. Tonight, we're going somewhere else, and we are going to have this midweek health awareness talk on something also very, very special. Special in the sense that it has become alarming. It has become a crisis. Men are in a battle with their own prostate gland. Who wins the battle? That is left for you to decide. Because today we have a choice to be well. We have a choice to look after our prostates. We have a choice to do all it takes to keep our prostate health the way we want it to be. I'm happy tonight that a lot of people, invited guests, are already in the house. And so we have almost a full house to kickstart our awareness talk now. My name is John Ekperigin. I'm your host. And you are going to hear from somebody today. I know he's already in the house. I met him 15 years ago. When we invited him, I hope you remember Ekperigin. We brought him to Warri to speak to medical doctors, medical personnel, pharmacists, nurses at Peggy Hotel, Airport Road. And sincerely speaking, you may not know that that was the beginning of good things that happened in that environment. Tonight, he's going to speak to us on the prostate health. Who am I talking about? A general medical practitioner with 32 years in practice. In fact, I know he's vast in the aspect of nutritional medicine. He has special interest in men's health. In fact, he has published a book on sudden death at the middle age. And also, he has unpublished work on man, know your prostates. He has been speaking to men. In fact, that is his passion. In different organizations across the country, creating awareness concerning the prostate to tell you how bad the crisis is today. Somebody's ready to bear the card. Presently, he's in private practice in Port Harcourt and is married with 2 children. So I'm talking about Dr. Damian. How, my God. At the end of today's talk from Dr. Damian, you will regret the time you have spent. You go home happier with the knowledge now that you can look after your prostate and make it healthy. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to invite Dr. Damian to take on the floor, share your screen, so that we can. I have my paper, I have my pen, because I learn. Each time I meet him, I learn. So, Dr. Damian, you are welcome. You are highly welcome. You are highly respected. Welcome for taking the trouble to accept our invitation. Welcome, sir. You can share your screen. You already made a host, the co-host, so you can share your screen now. Hello, good evening, doctor. Okay, fine, fantastic. Good evening, welcome, doctor. It's muted. Doctor, can you unmute yourself? You are a co-host. He's sharing the screen already. Yeah, doctor, you are muted. Doctor, please, can you unmute yourself? Dr. Clement, did you go? Please, can you get in touch with Dr. Damian? He's a co-host already, so he can unmute himself. He's already a co-host.
Maybe it's his network.
I hope it's not his network. Let me get Dr. Clement to talk with him. All right, Dr. Demia is trying to sort out one thing or the other electronically, and it will be surely going to get out sorted now. So say welcome all those who are in the house already. We can see the house is, yes, there's pressure in the house. People are coming in. You are welcome to tonight's midweek health awareness talk. And once doctor hits the button now, I can assure you that we get running, and straight away we know the points will start coming in. So just be patient for a while, 1 minute or two, for doctor to get things sorted out from his end. Meanwhile, you are welcome. And Some of the symptoms you are going to listen to, please watch out for it. And if you observe any of such symptoms, then we'll begin to move. Don't wait until things get out of hand. This issue has become a crisis that most men don't even know about it. That is the worst case. Most men don't know about the prostate. So I find this awareness talk going to be good enough for everybody to be aware. And then watch out for the symptoms. But sincerely speaking, you don't have to wait, because we say prevention is better, is safer, and far cheaper than cure. Welcome, doctor. Are you up now? Yeah, I can see you are coming up now. Hello, doctor. Okay. Doctor is coming up gradually. Like I was saying, I met doctor 15 years ago, and in Warri. In fact, I was so impressed. It was a gathering of medical personnel, and he was able to talk from the angle of nutritional therapy. Those things the body needed to handle the prostates, those things in foods that our body needed to keep our prostate glands healthy, to keep us happier. So tonight, I'm sure you're going to be the hero, sincerely going to be the winner of the battle. And your prostate glands will be healthy and you will be happy. Don't just be a listener, but you need to also take steps. Whatever doctors say we should do, we need to do it. We need to do it, because don't just be hearers, but also doers. We need to prevent and happily handle our prostate gland. Incidentally, it's the most important gland in terms of reproductive system in a man. The most important. So how come it goes the other way around? It's because we are not giving the prostate gland what it needs. So what does it need? That is doctor's job tonight. How do we make it healthy? That is doctor's job tonight. So as you stream in, yes, we still have a lot of space. So as you come in, there's space for you. So come in, and then doctor will be ready in about a minute or two. So doctor is working hard to get it sorted now. There are some parts of the human body that we need to look after so that it can look after us. Last week, Wednesday, Dr. Manua took us to a point where everyone felt like this is amazing, because all he handled was also very important organ, the body, and he looked at the system referred to as the cardiovascular system. Why must somebody sleep and not wake up? Why would somebody who is not sick just slump and die? Literally, not sick, slump and die. All these were looking at their crisis that must be handled before they get out of hand. So we are on after today, and after the talk, for those who are invited guests, we are going to send to you a thank you and the voice notes, the products recommended by doctor, you see them and you listen to the voice notes. In a summary, you can get a clear view of the products you need to take, the food that you need to take that can keep your glands healthy and good enough.
Okay.
Doctor.
All right. Okay.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to start now. Doctor has finally gotten in.
Okay. Good evening, all. Are you hearing me now?
Yes, can hear you.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much. Sorry for the disruption. It's one of those things. Thank you very much, Professor John and Dr. Clement Digo, for inviting me to this Zoom meeting this evening. It's an honor to reunite with you people again after so long. Thank you very much. Am I clear enough?
Yes, very clear.
Okay. All right. So I've been asked to talk on the prostate crisis. And like Professor John said earlier, I have actually traveled across the length and breadth of this country, talking about this some years ago. And even now, locally here in Port Harcourt, in men's organizations. So I just hope that the next few minutes we are going to spend here will be worth your while. Thank you very much. I will go into the presentation now. Okay, so
Doctor, can you be on a full screen?
full screen.
Yeah.
I'm on full screen. It's full screen here.
Okay.
Is the screen is it, oh, are you seeing it well?
Yeah, we are seeing it well,
Okay.
but not on full screen yet.
What's happened? Wait, let's see. Where's that full screen again? This is full screen. It's on full screen here. I don't know how it's appearing on your side.
Doctor, you can go ahead.
Okay, fine. Okay, so what is prostate? Prostate is a small gland that forms part of the reproductive system in males. It's a very small gland, and the only way to describe it is, to use walnut. I'm sure we're all familiar with walnut. You see hawkers in traffic selling it. That's just about the size of a prostate. And it's located, if you can see the picture, it's located just below the urinary bladder. Urinary bladder is the organ that holds and releases urine. It's just located below it and in front of the rectum. The rectum is the lowest part of the intestine. That is the location of the prostate. And it almost encircles the tube that takes out urine from the bladder through the penis to the outside. It's called the urethra. It does not encircle it completely, but almost. And the work of the prostate is to manufacture part of what forms the semen that men release. The prostate produces part of what comes out as semen in male. That is what the prostate is. It's quite an important organ, though very small. And it's an organ that gives men concern, that should give men concern as you add 1 year each year to your age. As we age, the prostate begins to be a source of concern to every man. And I've been in places where most men didn't even know the location of the prostate.
Okay.
In the on the lighter mood, on one occasion, I asked, where is the prostate? And somebody from the audience said, in the brain. That is how ignorant some men are about the prostate, something that each and every man should know about and be concerned about and learn how to take care of it. So that is the prostate. The prostate, as we grow old, the prostate, as we grow old, develops some problems, has the potential to develop some problems. So what are the common prostate problems that are non-cancerous? Because majorly, we have the problems from the prostate that are not cancer, and then of course we have the prostate cancer. So the problems that the prostate can come up with or can affect the prostate as we get older that are not cancerous are enlargement of the prostate. Enlargement of the prostate is called BPH for short, and that stands for benign prostatic hyperplasia. Hyperplasia is the increase in the number of cells of any organ. So simply put, the prostate gland begins to multiply. The cells that make up the prostate begins to multiply and it gets bigger, and then it leads to what I just said is called BPH, benign. Benign because it's not cancerous, benign prostatic hyperplasia. On my screen, you can see the normal size of the prostate. And then on the beside it, you can see an enlarged prostate. The bladder is right on top of it. You can see the tube, the urethra. In a normal prostate, you can see the urethra passing through, almost like running on top of the prostate, and it's very patent. You can see the tube is patent. While on the other picture, that the prostate is enlarged, you can see how the urethra is constricted almost through the entire prostate, from the base of the bladder until the urethra enters the penis. You can see the constriction there. You can see the constriction there, the constriction here of the urethra. Now, this constriction usually leads to one of the first things that brings a man to the hospital: urinary retention. When he's unable to pass urine, we'll get to that point. So BPH, and then we have infection of the prostate, acute bacterial prostatitis. Just like any other organ in the human body, we have urinary tract infection, we have infection here, we have infection there. You also get infection of the prostate, which we call prostatitis. It can be acute. Acute usually something that just started. And then it can also be chronic. Being a bacterial infection, once you use the correct antibiotics, you take care of that. Some acute prostatitis will go on to become a chronic problem, recurring from time to time. And that can be quite stubborn, to deal with. And then you have what we call chronic pain syndrome, which also comes from an enlarged prostate. Chronic pelvic pain syndrome, where you have pain in your pelvic area, which you can actually label anything, because your mind may not go to the prostate. These are some of the problems that the prostate has that are not due to prostate cancer. Now, what are the symptoms of prostate problems? When you have any of those conditions I mentioned already, especially BPH, which is of major concern to a lot of us. Once you attain the age of 50 and counting, you should be very concerned about your prostate and the possibility of developing prostate problems, especially BPH. Once that BPH is in the picture, these are some of the things or some of the symptoms that brings the men to the hospital. Frequent urge to urinate. You urinate now, and less than 30 minutes later, you feel like urinating again. Need to get up many times to urinate at night. In the morning, you're so tired, you didn't sleep well, you woke up more than 6-7 times to go and urinate, and still you feel like urinating more. Blood in the urine or semen, pain or burning urination, painful ejaculation, frequent pain or stiffness in the lower back, hips, pelvic area, like I mentioned in the chronic pelvic pain syndrome, rectal area or upper thighs. I've had a patient some time ago who had prostate cancer, but his only complaint when he appeared in the clinic was pain in his upper thighs, which he has been treating as arthritis and what have you for quite a while before he came to me. And then, of course, dribbling urine. Dribbling urine can be described as start and stop. You start to urinate, it ceases. Then it starts all over again. That's why the name dribbling. Now, frequent urge to urinate comes from your inability to empty your bladder completely whenever you go to urinate. After urinating, you still have residual urine in the bladder. Hence, there's still the urge to go back and urinate again. And you go back to urinate again, only to go back again after 30 minutes. These are the symptoms that bring men to the clinic. And of course, it can go on to complete obstruction. If you take a look at this picture again, it can go on to complete obstruction and then urinary retention. Most men that have come as emergency to the clinic because of benign prostatic hyperplasia came because of urinary retention. Men do not give birth, so they do not know what labor pain looks like. But a man with urinary retention, the pain he feels is the closest pain to labor pain a man can feel, because it's very, very painful. Because the urine is not flowing out from the bladder anymore, the bladder keeps distending, just like the womb, gets bigger when the child is growing. The bladder starts to distend and get bigger and occupy the entire abdomen if you don't get to the hospital on time, and is terribly painful. Acute urinary retention as a result of complete obstruction of the urethra as it passes on the surface of the prostate gland. These are the things that the man will present. Any of these, any combination here, when he gets to the hospital. And as we go to the next slide to look at prostate cancer, these symptoms are exactly the same a man with prostate cancer will feel. So when these symptoms come, you don't know really. Yes, maybe you go to the hospital, you're told your prostate is enlarged, but you don't know at that point whether it's cancerous or it's just a benign enlargement. Because the same symptoms that somebody with BPH, benign prostatic enlargement, hyperplasia will have is the same thing, the same symptoms that somebody with prostate cancer will have. Prostate cancer is the second most common cancer in men. And it's affected by age. I mentioned at some point that from 50, we should be concerned, very, very concerned about our prostate. From 50 and counting, our age becomes a risk factor to the possibility of developing prostate cancer. Race, somehow, Africans are more prone, even in America, African Americans are more prone to developing prostate cancer than the other people from other parts of the world. And those from Asia have the least incidence of prostate cancer. Family history: if your father had prostate cancer, your uncle, anyone in your bloodline has prostate cancer, then your chances of developing prostate cancer in your lifetime increases. Some of the things we eat also increases our chance of developing prostate cancer. Some kind of fat, some kind of fatty food we eat, some fat increases your risk of developing prostate cancer. Folic acid, which is very common in most multivitamins we take, also increases a man's chance of developing prostate cancer. Same is vitamin E, especially when taken alone as vitamin E. A man that takes vitamin E alone for a prolonged period of time also has an increased risk of developing prostate cancer. Now, a man presents with those symptoms mentioned above to the hospital. how do you be these symptoms here? How do you begin to check what is wrong with this man? Whether it's benign prostatic enlargement, which is not cancerous, or if this man has prostate cancer. The first thing we do is depicted in this picture here. We call it digital rectal examination, where the doctor will wear gloves, put some lubricant in at the tip of his finger and poke it into your anus. The tip of the finger, as you can see in this picture, is actually touching the prostate. This is the prostate gland. Now, what is the doctor doing with this finger? He's going to rub it on this prostate, try to feel the texture of the prostate. As he touches it, he watches to know whether you felt any pain or not, and he rubs his finger all around it, feeling the texture, checking whether it's smooth, checking whether it's hard, checking whether it's there are some bulges here and there, or if the surface is completely, the surface is completely smooth. Now, after doing that, and the doctor notices that the prostate is enlarged, he's going to try to find out this enlargement, is it benign or is it due to prostate cancer? He's going to order more tests, and he's going to do what we call PSA. PSA stands for prostate specific antigen. Prostate specific antigen. Now, this is a special molecule, a special protein only produced by prostate cells, no matter where they are in the body. I said no matter where they are because when you have cancer that has spread, that means you could have prostate cells far away from the prostate. Even if they are in the lungs, they still have the capacity to produce this particular protein, this prostate specific antigen. And I mentioned that hyperplasia is increased number of cells. So when you have the prostate cells increasing, you have many cells with the capacity to produce this protein. Hence, you're going to have an increased presence of this protein in the blood. So when the blood is taken for examination to check the PSA level, is going to be high. Now, you have an enlarged prostate, you have a high PSA. Does that automatically confirm that you have prostate cancer? Not exactly. More tests will still have to be done. The doctor will have to do an ultrasound of the prostate, which most times, of course, some people, some sonographers, some doctors do via the abdomen, but most would use a rectal probe, just like putting the finger through your anus. They will insert the probe through the anus. That will give you a clearer picture of the prostate. Again, you're trying to look at the consistency, whether it's smooth, it's hard, it's ridged, and how enlarged it really is. So if that is not diagnostic enough, you do MRI of the prostate. MRI stands for magnetic resonance imaging. Ultrasound uses sound waves, while this uses magnetic waves, all of them to visualize the prostate and give you a clearer picture so that you know exactly what you're dealing with. And if there is still any confusion, a biopsy can be done. A biopsy is putting a needle, which can be guided by ultrasound or by MRI, putting a needle through the anus, between the anus and your scrotum. If you put a needle through there, you will assess the prostate and collect some sample. and the pathologist will look at those tissues under the microscope, and that will give a confirmation whether you have prostate cancer or not. And that will differentiate between a benign prostatic hyperplasia and an enlarged prostate that is cancerous. Now, after you do that, what next? What can be done? Whether we are dealing with benign prostatic hyperplasia or prostate cancer, the first thing that can be done, that is usually done, is watchful waiting, especially if this is a diagnosis that was made while looking for something else, meaning the patient had no symptoms, the man had no symptoms. He came to the clinic for something else, and in the course of investigation, routine checks, is found out that, oh, the prostate is enlarged. Even if it's confirmed that that enlargement is cancerous and he's not having any symptoms, this is the first approach that will be adopted: watchful waiting. You just wait and see what will happen next. Because most men do not die from prostate cancer. They die with their prostate cancer. It's a very slow growing cancer. So it's not something you rush into attacking when it's not causing you any problem. So watchful waiting. Now, benign prostatic hyperplasia, that increased prostate, usually is affected by the primary male hormone. There's a hormone that makes you a man, and that is testosterone. Testosterone has been implicated as being involved in the increased size of the prostate. In cancerous situations, testosterone has also been implicated as fanning, the growth of the cancer cells and the spread. Every man produces testosterone from the testicles. And the irony is, as we get older, the 50 and counting, actually total testosterone begins to drop. However, the testosterone is converted to dihydrotestosterone, which is the real culprit in this DHT, which is really the culprit in increasing the size of the prostate and increasing the spread of prostate cancer. Now, there are drugs that try to prevent this conversion of testosterone to dihydrotestosterone. And these drugs attack the enzyme that helps in converting testosterone to DHT. So if your doctors confirm that all you have is benign prostatic hyperplasia, they are going to put you on drugs. Two drugs are primarily in use locally for this purpose. They are going to put you on finasteride or dutasteride, which blocks the activity of that enzyme that converts testosterone to dihydrotestosterone, and thereby shrinking the prostate. Yes, you can actually reduce the size of the prostate with these drugs. Where that is not helping so much, surgery can also be contemplated for benign prostatic hyperplasia to release or relieve the symptoms. But depending on the size of the prostate, the surgery has its complications, its problems. And the two most common problems of surgical intervention, if it doesn't go as well as anticipated, will be sometimes clear impotence, inability of the man to use his organ again, or very serious reduction in sex drive, and urinary incontinence. After the surgery, unfortunately, which was done to reduce urinary frequency, the urge to urinate every time, one of the complications can still be incontinence, where you cannot control urine anymore. So those are the two major issues. Of course, infection, bleeding, those ones are all there. For the man, those are the two major issues of concern when you're thinking of surgery for BPH. The possibility of total impotence or severe erectile problems, and the possibility of urinary incontinence. Testosterone is a hormone. There are still hormones that are used to counter hormones. These drugs are equally used to try to, again, prevent the conversion of testosterone to dihydrotestosterone, or even reduce the production entirely. Because outside the testes, testosterone is also produced in the adrenals. Adrenals are two little glands on both sides. On the kidneys, two here, two here. They also produce testosterone, in addition to the major supplier, which are the testicles. Radiation therapy, if you're dealing with frank prostate cancer now, surgery can only be considered if that cancer is within the prostate. It hasn't gone out of the prostate. If it has gone out of the prostate, I mean, it's obvious, removing the prostate doesn't solve the problem, because cancer cells have already gone beyond the prostate. So doctors do not rush to operate when you have prostate cancer until it's determined, and there are various ways of determining whether the prostate cancer has spread beyond the prostate or not. If it has spread beyond the prostate, then you have to look at other options: the hormone therapy, the radiation, the chemotherapy, targeted therapy. Sorry, is not there. Targeted therapy is where you try to deliver whatever it is, most times radiation in tablet forms or sticks, to the cancer itself without involving other tissues. Immunotherapy, where the body's immune system is trying to, pushed, activated to fight the cancer cells. There are still a lot of other things they are trying, but these are primarily the things that can be done in prostate cancer as treatment is concerned. Now, is there anything a man can do to prevent this terrible picture I have painted so far? Whether it's benign prostatic hyperplasia, whether it's prostate cancer, the picture hasn't looked good so far. Is there anything we can do to help, to prevent? Science continues to evolve every day. Scientists are working around the clock. I did mention some of the risk factors here. Now, these risk factors like age, family history, race, there's nothing you can do about it, because we must get to 50. And after 50, 51. We are Africans, we are Africans. We can't do anything about that. Family history, well, if it's in the family, it's in the family. You can't do anything about it. But these ones, diet, there's something you can do about it. You have to watch what you eat. 50 and counting, you must reduce your fat intake, including dairy products. A lot of people take, they go out of their way to buy calcium, especially the Sandoz calcium, the one that has effervescence. You drop it in a glass, and it bubbles, and a lot of calcium should also be avoided. You only take calcium when absolutely needed and prescribed. Folic acid and folate are the same thing, Folate, folate. However, folate is protective. Folate reduces your chance of getting prostate cancer. Why folic acid increases it? How? Folic acid is synthetic. Folic acid is manufactured in the lab, while folate is a natural occurring folic acid. If you want, you get it from food, from vegetables, from orange juice, from grains like beans. So if you're eating enough of vegetables, you're eating a lot of grains, you're eating a lot of fruits, you're getting natural folate, and that works for you. That works in your favor. That helps you prevent, reduces your risk actually of developing prostate cancer. Now, vitamin E alone, that's the way I said it earlier, taking vitamin E alone increases your risk of developing prostate cancer. However, there has been studies that show that if you take vitamin E and selenium together, if you take vitamin E and selenium together, it actually, to an extent, reduces your risk of developing prostate cancer. There has been a lot of talk about lycopene. Lycopene is a naturally occurring substance in foods like tomato. Tomato actually is a very major source of lycopene. There have been studies because of the interest around lycopene and prostate cancer. There has been a lot of studies. And so many of those studies have actually suggested that lycopene does reduce the risk of prostate cancer. But some studies have not corroborated that. But at least a lot of studies have said, yes, that lycopene has the potential to reduce the risk of prostate cancer. Of course, generally speaking, exercise, not smoking, not taking too much alcohol, these are all the things that helps to prevent some form of cancer. And they can also help you, especially living an active life, exercise. If you live an active life, you eat well, you try to get enough folate, that's still eating well, but eating a lot of vegetables, grains, fruits, especially orange juice, and avoiding taking vitamin E alone as a standalone vitamin when you have reached 50 and counting. Then you are doing fairly well to take care of the prevented, the risk you can manage. Since we can manage our age, our race, our family history, these are the manageable risks which every person should be interested in doing. Besides all, the particular foods I have mentioned, generally, we know that we have had it severally in many fora, eating a balanced diet, eating a lot of fruits, eating a lot of vegetables, eating a lot of grains, avoiding all these fast food kind of life, especially as we are aging. Because if you know the kind of oils they use in deep fries, in fast foods, you will actually avoid most of the things in the fast food, from the chicken to the meat pie to the rest of it, because this oil, they do not go for the very expensive oils that do not contain polysaccharides. They buy the ones that are cheap, and those ones are rich in polysaccharides, and these polysaccharides are not your friend. So we can do a lot about what we eat. We can control that. We can control the kind of drugs and vitamins we take. We can control that. We can decide to live an active life, exercise. We can control that. And all these, as you do them, you are trying so hard, even without knowing, to reduce your chances, to reduce your risk of developing prostate problem, be it benign prostatic hyperplasia, be it prostate cancer. So those are the things we can do to prevent the development of these prostate cancer. I wasn't told how long my presentation should take, but I think at this point I will pause, because I'm sure there are people that have been jotting down questions so that they can ask their questions, and areas that I need to elaborate on, I will do that. Thank you very much.
All right, doctor, thank you so much. You still have about 30 minutes anyway, if you have other things to add. Yes.
Okay. Okay, so at this point, are there questions? Let's make it interactive. Are there questions? Are there concerns? Okay, am I supposed to recognize him? Raise hand. So what am I supposed
Okay, if there are no questions, maybe I should just ask this question on behalf of those who are not talking. Doctor, at what stage can one begin to worry about the prostate? You have mentioned the symptoms, but at what stage should one begin to see the doctor and be really worried about the prostate care?
Once a man notices any of these: frequent urge to urinate, getting up so many times in the night to go and ease yourself, blood in your urine or semen. I've seen a lot of cases where this is the presentation, and this blood was not just a drop of blood. They were urinating blood. Excuse me. Pain. Anytime a man notices any of this, that should be a warning sign to go to check. Go to your doctor, make the complaint, let them check. As a matter of fact, I have quite a number of my patients that come in, some of them annually, some of them every 2 years, to run a routine check without any symptoms. Because even as young as 40, they come in and counting. And I think it was either in May or June, I had this presentation in a men's breakfast meeting in one big church. And I know how many men from that meeting have on their own come to, doctor, okay, what do I need to do? What examinations do I need to undergo check me, I need to know. And one man from one of those meetings actually has been diagnosed with prostate cancer. He never knew before. Like I said, it doesn't always come with fire. It could be there and you're living your life, you don't know, which, was the reason I said one of the treatment options is watchful waiting. In a situation like that, where he didn't even know he had any problems, it was just accidentally discovered. You don't have to rush in also trying to be a hero. You evaluate things and then advise, watch and wait and see how it goes. So anytime a man notices any of this, especially this pain here, frequent pain. Like I said before, I had a patient whose only complaint was pain in his upper thighs. Do not just overlook them. Go to the hospital, go talk to your doctor, find out what could this be. Follow your doctor's advice. If there are investigations to be done, do them so that you can know exactly what the problem is. So at any point you notice any of these, that's enough reason to go and see your doctor. Any of these symptoms, especially frequent urination where you have ruled out sugar problem. Maybe you've gone to check your sugar, they told you it's normal, you don't have any sugar increase in your blood, then that should be a warning bell to go and see your doctor.
Okay, thank you.
Mm.
Somebody is talking about more of the preventive measures, supplementation, and all that. Is it possible to shed some light on that?
Supplementation, I mentioned something here. No, it's not there. What was that? I mentioned some, okay, in the risk factors. The risk factors. Yes, there is room for that, but you have to bear in mind what I said here. Do not take vitamin E alone. Vitamin E alone is not good for your prostate health. So, but I did say that taking vitamin E with selenium is helpful. So if you must take a supplement, check what it contains. If that supplement contains enough vitamin E, enough selenium, among other things, then you can take. But do not take vitamin E alone. Again, folic acid, I don't really know if there are men that take folic acid regularly, like sometimes we advise women, especially in the age bearing bracket. But if you are taking a supplement that contains a lot of folic acid, you should think twice. I said that the natural occurring version, folate, is really, really helpful to your prostate. Studies have shown that, confirmed that over and over again, that folate helps to reduce the risk of developing prostate cancer. So instead of folic acid, you take folate, which occurs naturally. I don't really know if there are supplements that tap into that natural folate and formulate it the way the natural one is. If there are supplements like that, then yes, those can also be taken. Now, I did mention lycopene, and I know there are some supplements that contains lycopene. And I said that studies have shown, a lot of studies have shown that lycopene, it's helpful in preventing prostate cancer. When you come to science and studies, they will rather want, if they do 100 studies, let all the 100 studies say the same thing. So there are still some studies on lycopene that have not agreed with the other studies that said, yes, lycopene is useful. But since there are so many studies already saying that, me, I'd rather go with those studies and take lycopene, which I usually do take. And I've already said that lycopene occurs naturally in tomatoes. I used to advise men to always add tomato to their meals at least 2-3 times in a week. Cut up tomatoes, add it to what you're eating. The question comes in raw or cooked. I tell them steam it. When you steam, what do you call it? When you steam tomato, lycopene is released more than when you eat it raw. Steaming and cooking are not the same thing. When you cook, you overcook. You just steam the tomatoes, slice them up, steam them a little, and add it to whatever it is you are eating. It brings out more lycopene from the tomato. So supplement that's what I can say about supplements. And men, even within this age of 50 plus, we drink dairy products, milk like infants. That's not healthy, especially with thinking about your prostate.
Recording in progress.
That is not healthy, especially thinking about your prostate. We must reduce our dairy intake as we age slowly and gradually and steadily. We don't have to be drinking milk like children. So, I don't know if there's any other question along those lines.
I'm sure there are some questions. There are some questions in the chat room. You should go there and see. Somebody, yeah, doctor.
Yes, please.
Somebody just wants a short advice.
Okay.
Because it feels you are very experienced.
Please throw more light on it.
In nutritional therapy.
Okay.
That it takes supplement, because some are synthetic and some are closer to nature.
Yes.
It takes supplements that it feels supplement like nature mean that contains some minerals in natural form. It takes a supplement like Vitalize. I don't know if you are familiar with those. Multi-marker. These are supplements that he has been on. Even supplements like propolis. If you are familiar with that, is it possible to shed some light on that or advice? Because they appear to contain some of these minerals and vitamins you have explained here.
Okay. Let me just use this as an example. Though I understand it's no more in stock now, they have changed to something else. But A-beta care. When A-beta care was still there, it contained, vitamin E. But you find out that that vitamin E is natural. The issue with vitamin E, even for other situations, is like when you walk into any pharmacy, you see a lot of vitamin E's on display. But take the container and take a closer look at it. You'll find out that probably sometimes 100 over 100 are all synthetic. When A-beta care was still there, you picked up, if you pick up the container of A-beta care and you look at it, vitamin E is tocopherol. What you will see on A-beta care is alpha D tocopherol, which tells you it's a natural, that vitamin E contained in this product is of natural origin. Now, walk into any pharmacy, pick up vitamin E, what you will see is alpha D L tocopherol, which tells you is of synthetic origin. The body does not absorb synthetic vitamin E. but that's what you find all over the place. Now, I've had patients I ask to get vitamin E, and I tell them, look for alpha D tocopherol. Sometimes it takes them more than a month to find it in pharmacies. And if they find it, the cost is usually 2 or 3 times more than all those other displayed vitamin E products. So when you multi-marker, nature mean, propolis, sorry, the vitalize. Yes, when you look at them, take propolis for instance, which is purely natural. If you want a natural antibiotics, and of course you know the source, the multi-marker, the same thing. And the thing with most of those products are they are sourced, whatever they contain are sourced naturally. So that probably has something going for them because of the natural source of the ingredients. Remember I said that the problem with folic acid here is because it's synthetic. This folic acid is synthetic. And you know that folic acid actually helps in multiplication of cancer cells. That is a documented science. And so, and probably, I don't know what they use to formulate it, but the synthetic nature of it, that is the issue here, because folate, if I had to explain that before somebody who was going to ask me what's the difference between folic acid and folate. Folate is the naturally occurring form of this same thing. And that naturally occurring one is exactly the opposite of this when it comes to cancer prevention in the prostate. So the natural source of these ingredients, the natural source of these minerals and vitamins is of major importance in what we are talking about. So if you're choosing your supplements, make sure, of course, I'm sure they haven't changed. Forever is still sourcing their minerals and their vitamins, from natural sources. If you're using supplements, then make sure that the company that made it uses only natural things to formulate them. So that is the issue here. Where did you get these questions?
Thank you. There's a question here by Carol. Okay. So what will be the good ratio of vitamin E to selenium in a product?
Excuse me. I can't tell you that for sure, but what I also do know is in products containing selenium and what do you call it, and vitamin E, the people that formulated it took into consideration what we are talking about, and they know what is safe. They know the quantity of selenium that will be combined with vitamin E to produce a safe product. I don't know the ratio, but those that made it should know. And what is important is that this combination, combining selenium and vitamin E in one product, makes it safe, kind of, and makes it also protective when it comes to prostate health.
Okay. All right. There's a question, a comment here. There used to be this Pro 6 produced by Forever Company, Pro 6. And like you said, A Beta Care was also there. But incidentally, that Vitalize for Men has been produced. It's like A Beta Care and the Pro 6 have been combined into Vitalize in the proper ratio. That's the comment, the person, I think Justina, yes, that's the comment. Are you anything you want to say about that?
Sorry, I didn't get you completely, but
Okay. What I said was,
sorry, I wanted to read a comment here.
Okay.
From one of the people in attendance. Is trying to talk about A beta. No, it's not this one. This is trying to talk about A beta care. It says you are absolutely correct about forever A beta care, which is completely natural, combined with selenium. So it's a pity that it's no longer available. So I know I use A beta care a lot. Even me, when I say a lot, not for me, for my clients, my clients, and I have a lot of friends in the Forever family. I was one of them before. I was a manager before I took a voluntary retirement, and I still have a lot of friends who are active. So I call them up whenever I have people that have need for A beta care. There are things I use to combine A beta care and omega-3, Arctic sea omega-3, and to help some people, and we were getting very good results. It was on one occasion recently, I asked for A beta care, then I was told it's no more there, that is being replaced with these other products. This one here, A beta care and Process has been combined with Vitalize for Men. Okay, so so A beta care was quite a good product. Well, they had their reasons for taking it off the shelf, and treatment of sickle cell, does that mean such a varies for such treatment? There's a question here. Folic acid is a major drug for the treatment of sickle cell patients. Does that mean such is a great risk for such treatment? Most drugs cut both ways. Most drugs are two-edged swords. They provide succor on one side, and they create problem on the other. I mean, we can mention, count of the finger, more than 10 drugs now that we know of. Oh, it helps with this, but then you end up this way with it. So folic acid, yes, is given to sickle cell patients. However, if a sickle cell patient is well fed, is eating very well, it reduces his or her need of these synthetic folic acid, because folate, as I mentioned earlier, is exactly the same thing as folic acid. The difference is folate is natural, folic acid is synthetic. So if a sickle cell patient is eating very well, well provided for, then his or her dependence or her need of folic acid will reduce drastically, and probably also reduce the risk of what we are discussing here. And that's what I can say on that.
Okay. More questions? All right, Doctor, way forward, looking at the increasing trend.
Okay.
More men are getting entangled and having more problem with either the benign or the prostate cancer in Nigeria. What would you advise?
Okay.
Going forward.
Going forward, that's for one reason I'm happy about this meeting. And when Dr. Clem said 100 people were already in the house, I said, wow. And he said the room was actually made for 500. Maybe now there are more. Now that's good, because this is the way forward. Awareness, creating awareness. Okay, creating awareness for people to, on their own. When you get to this certain age, start changing your lifestyle. I mean, for those that have been lucky, drinking, because drinking always goes with eating meat, pepper soup, most times. And those pepper soup is either goat head or cow leg or cow tail and so forth and so on. And these are nothing but fat. And if you have been lucky up to this point, it's time to begin a change of lifestyle. Begin to drop some habits. Begin to drop alcohol. Begin to reduce your intake of fat, unnecessary fat. And more importantly, check. Always find time to go and check. It's not a daily thing. Once a year, once every 2 years, go and check how you are. If you're 50 and counting, and I'm sure most people in this room are probably in that age bracket. And if I ask how many people in this room now have done their PSA, you might be surprised, less than 20. So the only way to beat this thing, the only way to reduce the incidence is create awareness and create awareness and create awareness. Because when you find out some of these things on time, I have a friend, he's also a medical doctor. More than 15 years ago, he was diagnosed to have prostate cancer. And I know that there was, at that time, that's when I was really very active, traveling and talking about this same problem. I went to see him and we reviewed his case, what he was doing. He had met doctors. They suggested a lot of things. I also suggested a lot of things to him. And he being a medical doctor, he wanted to find a middle ground. I said, okay. He opted to do an orchidectomy then. That's removal of the testicles. So what was the goal? To reduce testosterone. Remember, I said that the testicles are the major producers of testosterone. So he removed his testicles in order to reduce testosterone. That was a drastic thing to do. Of course, that renders him impotent immediately. You know that. So I was against that, because when you do that, the body, the total testosterone drops for a maximum of 18 to 24 months. After that, the adrenals will kick in fully and they will be producing almost the same amount of the testosterone that the testicles were producing when they were there. So whatever benefit you think you have achieved by removing the testicles, after 2 years you've lost it, because other organs come in to replace that thing. So, but then a lot of at that time, A beta care, I still say it, Arctic sea omega-3, and eating naturally. He changed his diet completely, entirely. He was almost like he became a vegan, a vegetarian, and ate more of uncooked food than cooked food. About 3-4 years down the line, he was cancer-free, and he has remained cancer-free till today. He wrote a book on that. He wrote a book on his own personal experience. So early detection, as in most cancers, also has some little advantage here. And you can only have that early detection if you go in routinely to check annually, if you can afford that, or every 2 years you go and check. Because when you find these things early, remember I said, if you have prostate cancer, surgery can only be contemplated if the cancer is still, within the prostate. It hasn't gone out of the prostate. So, and that can only happen if you found this out on time, and it's all within the prostate, meaning if you just pick that prostate out and maybe follow it up with chemo or radiation just for insurance purposes, you can rid yourself of cancer. because once it has escaped from the prostate, there's nothing, little or nothing that you can do about it.
Okay, that is similar to your answer. Is it has answered this man's question. It's like if one is diagnosed of having prostate cancer and that has spread,
is this a
the
death
question
sentence?
is this a death sentence?
Yeah, it's not. It is not a death sentence because prostate cancer is a very slow growing cancer. If you are diagnosed of prostate cancer today and it's gone beyond the prostate, you can still live for the next 10, 15 years. It's not a death sentence that you're going to die today or tomorrow, because cancer, I mean, prostate cells, you know, they grow slowly wherever they are, even if they have turned cancerous. It's still a very slow growing cancer. I said something like you die with your cancer, not from your cancer. So it's not a death sentence like you're going to die tomorrow. No, it's a very slow growing cancer. The only thing is, with time, other complications come in, especially when it spreads to the bones. You begin to have anemia. You begin to have need to be transfused every now and then, because of course, you know, the bone marrows are still the major factories for making new blood. So those complications will start to come in with time as the spread goes, but you're not going to die immediately, no.
Okay, thank you very much, doctor. We will soon make you go, but before you go, people want to hear this. Okay. All over the world today, there appear to be a rise in knowledge around nutritional therapy.
Yeah.
When we look at how the approach to some of these health issues, but I don't know how fast this is in Nigeria. Looking at medical circle, what would you advise?
Let me share this a little. You of course, you said at the beginning you remembered when I came to Warri and all that.
Yeah.
So many years ago. I don't know whether it was before I came to Warri or after. I was in Benin and I went to speak to doctors. And there was one particular professor that called me a charlatan in that room, called me all sorts of names, that we go on peddling all these things. This was way back around 2002, 2003. At that time, product like Ginkgo, for instance, Ginkgo biloba, was just from FLP and one or two other companies. And 5 years down the road, you go to General Hospital pharmacies, you see Ginkgo. 5 years before, we were charlatans for talking about it. And the same thing has happened. I remember it was only one doctor in that meeting that got up to tell the professor, and luckily the doctor said, "Prof, you taught me in medical school. When you were teaching us in medical school, you people didn't teach us about free radicals." That would tell you when that person left medical school. But today, he was telling that prof, but today, free radicals is at the center of virtually every problem. But you didn't teach us that in school. So he was trying to tell the prof that because he didn't know about Ginkgo and its effect on the brain and blood supply and everything, doesn't make somebody talking about a charlatan or any other product for that matter. All you needed to do was go home and probably do your own little research. But then he didn't have to go do research. time took care of all that. The way nutritional supplements are accepted today is amazing compared to way back in 2002, 2003. So the knowledge is increasing, whether we want to accept it or not. You just have to, flow with the times. But the only problem is the market is saturated by the good, the bad, and the ugly when it comes to supplements. And that is the problem we have in Nigeria. The supplement market seems to be so unregulated that almost every month a new company comes in from China, from Asia, almost every month. And they are pushing in supplements. You don't know their value, you don't know their safety records, and so forth and so on. Hence, doctors are skeptical, especially when it has to do with some of these supplements and the kidneys, because there has been an increase in kidney problems, renal issues, and some doctors have blamed the rise in uncontrolled supplement market. That is not to say that, supplements with good nutritional values, well researched, well, documented, their process, production processes are known, and where they are and stuff like that are known, are not useful. They are. I still talk about FLP products because, if these products were not good, from 2000 when FLP came into Nigeria till now, I forgot when it started in America, but at least I know it came into Nigeria about 2000 or thereabout, because I became an FLP distributor in 2001, precisely June 25, 2001, I became an FLP distributor. And FLP is still waxing stronger and stronger and stronger. That is because of the quality of the products they make. But you can't say the same for all the other supplements in the market. So people have to choose carefully. You must, if you must take supplements, then be sure of what you are taking. That is my advice. There is a place for supplements, but you must be sure of what you are taking. Unfortunately, everyone makes his own choice. So that is that. Yes, all over the world, the value of nutritional supplementation is there, but we must do that wisely. That's the difference between, say, America or Europe and us. Everything is dumped on us here. Everything. Like I said, almost every month, a new company comes in from China, and they have supplements. You don't know what they contain. All they care about is the Nigerian market. So in as much as there is need for supplementation because of our poor dietary conditions, well, we also have to be wise in making our choices. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much. As a matter of fact, you have thrown light on the area I expected, because Nigerians today, they are more aware. They are more aware. The awareness is so high because they go online and they can actually know the difference between the good and the bad. And some of those ones that come, Forever Living product has been on since 1978 globally. And like you confirmed, it has been waxing stronger and stronger because researchers, Nobel Prize winners, people who are involved in all this, they are still bringing out better products. And people are going on to Google and find out the difference between this and that. And that makes it better because people can now know what they are taking, what they are consuming, and they know what not to consume. In effect, because of the growing wrong way of eating today, because of the fast food joints all over the places, and people are eating things that they cannot vouch for in terms of their health. People tend to want to see how they can help themselves. They go online, they want to find out, they go here and they go there and they come up with the fact and say, yes, I think this is okay. So one of the reasons why we're embarking on this awareness, continuous awareness program is for people to also take steps now helping themselves. Doctor, I want to thank you immensely for the time you have given to us today. And I know since the time I met you first 15 years ago, God is blessing you and God will keep blessing you.
Amen.
Thank you so much for the time, and thank you so much more for the knowledge you have shared tonight. I'm sure people will not forget you so soon. And when next we want to call you, please oblige, because you are doing so much, putting smiles in people's faces. I want to sincerely say you have done so well. I want to thank Dr. Clement Idigo also, because when we were discussing this, I was like, yes, our friend is still in Port Harcourt. Can we get in touch with him? And sincerely speaking, when he announced that he has talked to you, I was very glad, because I can vouch for your ability to give out quality information like this. I'm speaking in mind of all those who are here today, because I have read from the comments, the chat room, people are like, oh, this is quality, this is interesting, this is good enough. Doctor, thank you and God bless you. Have a blessed night.
Thank you very much.
We want to also say thank you for your patience and thank you for your and good night to everyone.